Welcome back. You're watching South Africa Tonight. The Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg has dismissed Western Cape Judge President Hlophe's review application. The JSC found Hlophe guilty of gross misconduct. The court says Hlophe's attacks on the validity of that finding were not grounds for review. Retired Constitutional Court Justice Johann Kriegler joins us to unpack this now. Thank you very much, Mr. Kriegler, for your time this evening. So what's Freedom Under Law's reaction to the dismissal of Judge President Hlophe's application and your view, if you would?
Good evening, Anlie, and to the viewers. Freedom under law is obviously reassured by the judgment. We are pleased that it has made a number of things clear, but it's not the end of the road, I am afraid. There's every reason to think that Judge Hlophe will continue delaying tactics, taking every possible and some impossible points in the law books. It's high time that there were an end to this matter. It's nearly 14 years to the day since he arrived in Braamfontein to try to persuade two of the junior Constitutional Court justices in favor of Mr. Zuma. And it's time that that be put to an end now.
What about the decision that Parliament has no scope to decide afresh on the judge's guilt?
We believe that that's correct in law, certainly. The factual findings and the conclusion as to whether Judge Hlophe is guilty of gross misconduct is vested in the Judicial Service Commission by the Constitution, and it is its duty then to send the matter to Parliament for Parliament to decide whether on the findings of the Constitutional Court there should be a dismissal, a removal from office, to use the language of the Constitution, or not. It is not for Parliament to reconsider the facts or to reconsider the law. Its decision is, if I can put it in such a way, is to decide on sentence, not on verdict.
So Freedom Under Law is quite scathing of Judge Hlophe and his time in office. What damage do you think this case specifically has done to the reputation of the judiciary?
Oh, Anlie, we're not scathing. The facts are scathing. The gentleman should not have been a judge for the last 14 years. He has shown that he's unfit for office. He is guilty of gross misconduct, and yet he remains as the judge president of the oldest and probably the most prestigious high court division that we have. One has profound sympathy for his colleagues on that court, for whom it must have been a very, very difficult job. One has profound sympathy with the legal profession in that division, and of course for the people in the Cape Division's area of jurisdiction. The Constitution does make provision for suspension of a judge who is accused and of such a grave misconduct as to warrant his dismissal. In this particular instance, we have asked the Judicial Service Commission on several occasions to recommend to the President that he so suspend. We are going to renew that request to the Judicial Service Commission. Although Judge Hlophe can still find more time by further reviews and further applications for appeal. If he is suspended from office, prejudice to the public and to the administration of justice can be minimized.
So what does that removal, suspension or impeachment process involve directly now going forward? Anlie,
it's never happened in our country There is no precedent. Judge Hlophe is the first judge in the history of this country to have been found guilty of gross misconduct. The procedure prescribed by the Constitution in broad principle is perfectly clear. The matter is to go to Parliament. It is to consider in the National Assembly whether Judge Hlophe should be removed from office. We would suggest that that decision should be perfectly clear. On the findings of the Judicial Service Commission, the man should not remain in office. It requires a two-thirds majority. We are of a view that the administration of justice and the rule of law require the National Assembly to take a dispassionate, legitimate decision in terms of the Constitution, not to play politics with this one, but to say the law requires and the interests of all of us require that Judge Hlophe be removed from office. Whether Parliament will do so or not, of course, is not for me to say and not for Freedom Under Law to say.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. That was retired Constitutional Court Judge and member of Freedom Under Law, Johann Kriegler.